Have you ever been to the bathroom before? Have you ever used toilet paper or facial tissues before, So it's not like I need to start educating you on Web 3.0 and AI this and whatever else. It's really, really simple. And just being able to explain that, well, think of it like an inverted tissue box on the wall. Our toilet paper dispensers come in some beautiful styles and finishes, but then to everyone's benefit, the interfolded sheets reduces your consumption dramatically as well.
You're listening to Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast, a podcast for those who are in and around the hospitality industry who love, live, and breathe what they do. You can join us for candid and unscripted conversations with hospitality experts and founders as we go deeper into their personal stories while they're sharing their triumphs and trials that got them to where they are today. I'm your host, Will Slickers, and you're listening to an episode of Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast. Now, let's begin. All right, Slick Talkers, welcome back as I have an amazing guest all the way from Vancouver, Canada. Welcome, Ludo. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm great, my man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. You and I got introduced to each other through a great friend, Ryan Killeen, who is one of the co-founders of the Annex Hotel. Great friend of the show, good friend of the pod. I get to hang out with him every now and then when we have flights that usually cross paths. But dude, what you guys are building with Foxfold is quite interesting. And for a lot of the listeners, they know I usually avoid sustainability topics because a lot of these times I feel like it could be a little bit not overhyped, but in the sense of not actually sustainable. It's a product that maybe is a little bit crappy, higher price than what you would pay for something that wasn't eco quote unquote friendly. But what you guys are doing with Foxfold is actually quite interesting, changing the way that hotels and hospitality operators can be actually a little bit more sustainable within their toiletry products. So I would love for you to, before I butcher what you guys are building at Foxfold, I would love for you to give us a high level overview.
Well, first of all, shout out to Ryan. The guy's been an absolute gem. He was one of the first hotels that we've had, actually, the first hotel in Toronto that we had come on
Mm.
board. He's a trendsetter and a lot of respect for him and the whole Annex brand. Yeah, so I left my whole finance career to reinvent toilet paper. It seemed like the next obvious choice in my career. And the simple fact here is really simple. Every time you've ever checked into a hotel room, you can kind of envision it now. As soon as you walk in, big white glowing roll of toilet paper on the wall with the folded edges, maybe sometimes a little sticker on top. And unfortunately, when you're there for 2 or 3 nights and you've used, say, half the roll, that other half needs to be removed and thrown away. And same with the tissue boxes. Those tissue boxes get pulled back out, and they don't have time to open them up, take out the little bit of tissues that are inside, rip off the plastic lip, fold the tissue box, and then recycle it later. The whole thing goes in the garbage. And so, especially for some of those higher brands, if you're paying $1,000 a night, you can't expect, just purely from a brand standard to walk in and see a half used roll or a quarter used roll left on the wall. And so if you think of the amount of waste that is, an average hotel would say, 2 or 300 rooms is going through 50 to 60,000 rolls a year. And almost half of those end up in the bin. And so the running joke is, well, we use some in the staff rooms, but the staff can't go to the bathroom fast enough to keep up with the amount of demand. So what we did is we really simply just reinvented the way that toilet paper and facial tissues get wrapped, packaged, and dispensed by selling both dispensers and refillable paper wrapped toilet paper and facial tissues.
All right, Slick Talkers, sorry to interrupt. As you know, great partners at Minute have sponsored this episode. They sponsor the show. So every episode is filled with amazing minutes. No pun intended. So if you don't know who Minute is or what they do, we see that we have a lot of new Slick Talkers out there in the world. So one, thank you for tuning into the show. Every listen, every time you hit play means so much to me and to my team. So thank you. But if you are new, Minute is an amazing noise detection device. Not only do they measure noise decibel levels inside of your vacation homes or your hotels, they actually can detect smoke. Not only that, if you're an outdoor kind of a unique stay person or just have an amazing outdoor amenities for your guests, from pools to hot tubs to cookout pads, all the stuff. They have an outdoor sensor that is specifically made for outdoor noise because I didn't know this, but noise outside and noise inside actually makes a difference. So you don't have to worry about constantly making sure, are people partying at your place? Are the cleaners there? Or like whatever, kind of issue might happen, you can get that peace of mind with Minute at your side. So as you grow, Minute will grow with you. They have an amazing team of support and they have an amazing technology from hardware and the software. When the two marry, it's just a beautiful combination. We use Minute in all of our vacation homes and hotels with our management company, and it's the best decision we've made because we are so dispersed and we are so spread out that having Minute just is a necessity for our operations. So get with Minute, go to the link in the show notes, let them know that Will from Slick Talk sent you. They'll give you a sweet deal. And of course, you know the drill. We're back to the episode, and I hope you enjoy. So you're saying all the housekeepers that love to do the fun watermark kind of seal on the toilet paper once they fold it and put it back on the dispenser is no longer going to be able to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that was like a little cheek and tongue there, but I guarantee you that there are no housekeepers that love to do that little fold and everything
Yeah.
else. The
Yeah.
amount of wasted time that that just takes is outrageous, and it's frankly disgusting if you think about like someone touched that tissue before you had to use it or someone else had to use it. More often than not, you tend to just rip that off and throw it away and throw out the sticker as well, and it's all just wasteful.
Waste of actual material and waste of time, like you said. I don't think I know a housekeeper that loves an extra sub task to do on top of already cleaning a home or a hotel room. So
Right.
yeah, I think you're spot on the money. I would love to know, let's before we gonna go more into Foxfold,
Sure.
why leave finance? Why leave your financial career to go start your own business, whether it's Foxfold or anything else in the world?
$1,000,000 question. No, listen, I had a great career, some amazing clients, 2 staff, like, I was pretty much set, working a few hours a day, and, the idea kinda hit me very randomly one day while on the treadmill of, if I had to reinvent something, what would it be? And for whatever reason, toilet paper kinda hit me in the head, and maybe it's because I had a 3 and 5-year-old at the time, that
Mhm.
just, I don't know, unrolled the roll, and it is completely wasteful, just, front and center. And so it was just a back of the napkin little idea that quickly grew and gained momentum. And the aha behind the idea of hospitality and hotels hit us a few weeks later. And then we just got one big success after another of, we brought on Box Clever, industrial design agency, award-winning design agency out of San Francisco. They came on board as partners, and many, many others that we got as early successes. So I had kind of had to make the decision. I either pass this off to another co-founder or someone else to run, or take a huge leap of faith and go for it. And I just didn't want to live a life of regret. I saw the opportunity. I saw the legacy that we could leave behind to change what has been for 130 years, and the potential for the environment and to save the world in our own little piece, which could eventually be a really big piece, but for now is a little piece. And so it was an exciting challenge for us to take on. So yeah, it's been really rewarding to say the least.
Well, can I ask you then, for all the reasons that you said are quite obvious reasons to go into an adventure of your own, right? To quit the security of employment and
Right.
a W-2, but you're also a father, husband. The risk is greater. And so I would love to know, what was the bigger picture for you with Foxfold and going into this business outside of, like, where can this product really go outside of hotels and short-term rentals and all the, type of hospitality venues that we kind of think of? Are you guys really trying to, kind of go into maybe sporting venues? Like, what was the big picture that made you say this risk of, kind of giving up the potential of security while having a family is way greater than actually not doing it?
Yeah, I think there's maybe two parts to this answer. I think the first one, is the fact that I'm 40 now. And as you mentioned, like with kids and everything, but I'm 40 now with a lot more experience than when I was in my, 20-year-old Ludo. So I already
Mm-hmm.
have an incredible network I can tap into on both potential clients, but potential investors. And I've seen and have worked with a lot of other founders and entrepreneurs in my, 10-year career working in finance as a wealth advisor. So that experience, fast tracks you pretty quickly. And same with my co-founder. He used to co-manage like 6,000 retail locations
Mm,
for a large mobile provider. So from an operational standpoint, having that experience fast tracks a lot. So, even though it is like a higher risk personally, it's kind of like it's interesting how it's balanced by the other way around of having a lot more experience and knowing who to tap into and what to do and what maybe not to do.
mhm.
On the flip side, I mean, the opportunity was like every time I would bring this up to, a hotel, whether it's a GM, a VP at a high level of a big brand or whatever it might be, almost the amygdala part of their brain would kick in where it was like, "You build, I buy," like, it was
Yeah.
just so obvious. The number one question we get is like, "How does this not exist already?" All the time. Our tissue box, our refillable facial tissue box, shockingly enough, is the world's first refillable facial tissue box, which
Wow.
how I get to say that in 2024 is beyond. Uh,
That's what I was gonna say too. I was like, how is this not like, when you hear an idea that was so good and you're like, "How did I not think of that?"
right.
Right? Like, how did I not? Like, I could have been rich. I could have been a millionaire if I just thought of this sooner, right? Like
And for hotel owners and all of those other people, it's really exciting because now they go, well, I used to just look at toilet paper and facial tissues the same as I look at my utilities, my taxes, things and numbers that I have no control over. They're
Mhm,
part of the expense of running this business. Now you're telling me I can save 30 to 50% on that expense and I can be more sustainable, reducing my waste, make my housekeepers happier, reduce my storage needs. Like the list kind of goes on and on and on. It's like, well, what's the catch? So that's been really, really exciting to see that, excitement. And so, to answer your question, the potential is really massive. I mean, we're starting, laser focused on hotels right now because that's where we've seen the biggest amount of opportunity in the short term and the biggest amount of demand. And as in the world of entrepreneurship and working with founders, you got to be laser focused. It's really easy to add, it's hard to subtract. So, laser focused on just one, incredible market. But with that said, I mean, next week we're going to announce our first hair salon here in Vancouver. That's got a decent sized chain across the city that's come on board. Cruise ships will be another major market for us.
mm.
Airports, we've talked to the local airport here as well. So there's lots and lots. Anywhere you can think of where there's a bathroom, we can obviously have an impact on.
Yeah, way to pick a business that has a huge, huge TAM because everybody needs to go to the bathroom, and whenever there's a bathroom, you're able to, swoop in,
Right.
to
There's
be
not just a
honest.
big
Yeah.
TAM, but it's an easy story to tell, right? It's like,
Yeah.
have you ever been to the bathroom before? Have you ever used toilet paper or facial tissues before, So it's not like I need to start educating you on Web 3.0 and AI this and whatever else. It's really, really simple. And just being able to explain that, well, think of it like an inverted tissue box on the wall. Our toilet paper dispensers come in some beautiful styles and finishes, but then to everyone's benefit, the interfolded sheets reduces your consumption dramatically as well.
Yeah, I would highly recommend if you're a listener of the show right now and you're listening, go to the YouTube version, check out the videos so that way when we're showing examples or anything like that, you actually have a visual for any of those visual learners or seers out there that want to see. But I love how, my favorite thing about hosting a podcast and like getting to talk to people in the industry, whether they're new in the industry or they've been around forever, is that I love meeting founders and entrepreneurs that can take something as unsexy as toilet paper
That's
and make it into a business. Like I would have never looked at toilet paper and be like, I think I can create a product around this, or I could change the way that we've done this for hundreds of years. So kudos to you. I would love to know also, just in the sense of you kind of talked about like you're in your 40s, or you just turned 40 and you've built this network and you've got some experience of life. You're not the 20-year-old who may have been a little bit more impulsive or whatever the situation was. What was some stuff starting the company that you were like, okay, this is what I can expect, but wasn't as expected, if that makes sense?
that's a really good question. One of the things that I knew was going to be challenging was to build something that doesn't exist. So whether that was the dispenser or the paper wrapping of the tissues themselves, shockingly enough, this was a lot harder than building the dispensers themselves. Finding, a
Mm,
manufacturer that could do bamboo, interfolded sheets of toilet paper and then have it paper wrapped on all sides like this was actually the most challenging part. So you can come up with some, and I just have this like illusion previous to Foxfold, whereby I come up with anything, you can build it. But there's
mhm,
true limitations to technology and machinery. And we talked to, the biggest independent converting facilities on the paper side, and none of them across all of the US had the machinery to be able to do what we wanted to do. And so
mm,
we had to go to Asia to find some providers that could do it. And even then, it was very challenging, which was really surprising. So I think that was like a really big surprise for me. I have a whole new appreciation for my coffee machine now. I look at an espresso machine very differently than when I did before taking on this journey, and all the little parts and pieces and this and that that they had to kind of think through. So same as our dispensers and our paper wrapping and everything else in between. It's been an incredible journey to go through that. Now, with that said, though, now that I've gone through that journey, it's really exciting to know how things are built, because now you can pretty much build not anything, but pretty close to anything physical. And you know the questions to ask, you know the people to go to, and what's involved, and what surprises are around the next corner, which are things that, neither of myself or my co founder knew at the time when we were kind of going through this journey in our first year of operation.
yeah. I would love to know what made you pick your co-founder? What's the story between the 2 of you?
Well, we've known each other, for a long time. So he's technically my cousin. So we've known each other since we were like 6 months old in a bathtub, right? Like, his mom is my aunt. So we've known each other for a very, very long time. He's the brother I never had. And so we've got an incredible relationship and we know each other incredibly well. And then my third co-founder, his name is Julian. He's a best friend from high school. So we've known each other for well over 20 years. So when I first came up with the idea, I called both of them right away and I was like, "Hey, okay, so I've got this like crazy idea." And they're like, "Oh, Ludo, like what now? No, 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 no. Like, hear me out, hear me out. Toilet paper. What do you know?" And so we remember that date as being March 11th, 2022, because that's the day that we started the Toilet Paper Boys WhatsApp group. And that we still have to this day between the three of us, and it goes all the way back to that date.
I
And
love that.
we maintain that as our kind of like core, ethos of what we're doing, what we're building, and it's been amazing to every day I get to interact with my best friend and my brother as we build this out. And we knew we would work well together. I just never
Mm,
realized just how complementary of skill sets we have.
mm,
So he has an operational background in marketing. I don't. And so having that come on board was incredible. It also gave me a whole new appreciation for sole founders. And
mm,
to build something on your own, wow, I knew it would be tough, but never to this degree. And not just on hard days, but even on just good days, you just high five yourself. So instead of having like a co-founder you can call and celebrate the successes of big wins with, yeah, I'm very, very grateful to have the team that I have, and it's been very exciting to have it with them.
I have many conversations with friends as I'm one of the few solo founders, at least with my main company, and it's tough. Trust me. For the listeners that think it's all glam, it sucks sometimes, just FYI. But if you're a listener and you're a solo founder as well, you get it.
Right.
Man, you got my wheels turning too because I was just kind of thinking, I didn't know you had two co-founders. So now knowing that you have two co-founders, I guess what kind of role do you fully see yourself playing in within the trifecta? Because I love to, think usually when it's just like one co-founder and another, usually one's the visionary and the other one's the operator and the integrator, or one's a product person and the other one is the sales, or whatever kind of trifecta it is. So where would you say your seat really lands within the two or the three of you?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, for background, sales and finance was my core focus before.
Yeah.
Marketing and operations was Greg's. Greg and I, jointly own just over 60% of the business today. And so, we run all of the day to day stuff. The third co founder who was there on day one has yet to take the full plunge and the full jump, but still
Mhm.
maintains, a decent amount of equity and dedicates quite a few hours a week to everything that we do. And he's got, luckily for us, an incredible background in graphic design work and web design and all that. So he helped, build out the entire foxfold.com website, all of our materials, catalogs, and things like that. So, really take this thing to life so that when
Yeah.
we were at a position to then bring it to Box Clever in its early days, we already had some very early renderings of what it could look like. And, beyond just me trying to create something in PowerPoint, which is, pretty awful.
Yeah.
Leave it up to the professionals to do what they do best and really highlight what, the vision on paper. And so we were very lucky in that sense. And then our fourth co-founder is really Brett, who's
Wow.
behind Box Clever. So they gave us the option. They said, well, you can either, pay us a fee to build this out, or how about instead you be the fourth company we ever invest in, and
Wow.
me and my team will come on board full and really build this out with you guys. And so he, luckily for us, he brought a tremendous amount of industrial design and engineering experience that none of us ever had.
Yeah.
So we've been very, very lucky in that sense.
Man, I thought there was 3. You pull out a
I know.
4th out of nowhere.
There's no more. There's no more. I mean, Greg and I are the two main co-founders. That's why
Yeah.
you mostly hear about us, but in the background there are two others that have added and continue to add a tremendous amount of value to where we are. And you know what? Now we're going to be welcoming a few others to the team here in the next coming weeks and months, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
Really, really exciting as we continue to build this out and maintain momentum here.
I love it. And I'm curious, you got my brain kind of, my wheels turning a little bit. And yeah, I've seen your dispensers for the toilet paper and the facial tissue. And I would be curious, do you guys see the opportunity for, getting them branded? So a Ritz Carlton could have their own Ritz Carlton brand on the dispenser, and any other products that you guys would see yourselves getting into outside of the tissue kind of sector, or is there more inside the tissue that we don't know about that you guys have on your scope for launching in the near future or anything like that?
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the exciting things that we can do is we can really customize the look and feel. So, for those that are watching, we have
Mhm.
quite a few different finishes that are beyond, the standard finishes that are out there. And so, we can really customize this to match the finishes that might be in a hotel room. So, something very different, a cream with a gold top would be something, quite unique. And so, think of like a Beverly Hills kind of style of a look hotel, right? And so that's definitely one way that the hotels see as an opportunity. We talked to an incredible brand called State Pineapple, and they were like, well,
Mhm.
maybe we can create like the pineapple colors on the dispensers to match like our whole decor and room,
Yep.
something that they've never been able to really do before with other kind of just the regular covers that go on the tissue boxes or a roll of toilet paper. So that's been really, really exciting to talk to all of these other brands and start to like innovate with them on like colors and variations. The next products that we probably innovate on are gonna be still within the paper category. Every single new client of ours is asking us about paper towels.
Mm.
Paper towels is a big, big, big piece. Not many of them come paper wrapped like we have. Not many of them are 100% bamboo as well. So finding alternatives there and then also building out dispensers for paper towels. Think of, at your
Mhm.
home, whether you live in a $500,000 to a $50 million home, it doesn't really matter. Everyone's got the paper towel holder on their countertop, and then it's just
Yep.
the holder itself is either plastic, metal, or marble, right?
Yeah.
Well, what if instead it was a beautifully designed metal box and inside were interfolded sheets of paper towel? You could pack in a lot more paper towel in there, remove that, core roll that's inside. So lots of pieces that we can innovate on in the future in that world as well.
All right, I'm back. Sorry to interrupt, but you have to hear about our partners and friends at Hostfully. Not only are they an amazing property management software, they're an amazing team. I've been friends and partners with Hostfully for over 4 years now, and it's been an amazing 4 years. I can't complain because as I continue to grow my business with our property management company, they continue to update and grow their products and features within the Hostfully platform, and it just gets better over time. So, with us, we have a unified inbox, we have amazing marketplace, not only for the rest of our tech stack to integrate, which is awesome because they work with so many people, but then the third piece is the distribution is built in. So you don't have to fully rely on a channel manager. You can actually rely on the amazing integrations that Hostfully has with Airbnb, Verbo, Booking.com, Marriott, Homes and Villas, you name it. They have what you need in order to get your inventory, your properties to the right people. It's kind of a no-brainer, but I'm going to tell you this anyways. You're going to get a special deal with Hostfully with the link in the show notes. You'll just have to let them know if you love the product and then just tell them that we'll send you. So that way you can get that amazing Slick Talk deal. And of course, we're back to the episode. Thanks for tuning in. And I hope you enjoy. Love it. Big fan. I'm curious. So let's talk some numbers if you have any kind of relevant to the sense of operations for a hotelier or the efficiencies and the saving and costs. And because I know a lot of the listeners are entrepreneurs, and so they're probably all thinking about like, oh yeah, I could put this in my hotel, I could do this, da, da, da. Or they're kind of maybe a little bit more curious just outside of the product itself, cost and time saved and efficiencies. So what are some of the stats that you guys have seen with properties actually apply a bamboo eco-friendly sustainable version of toilet paper and facial tissues?
Yeah, so lots to unpack there.
That's
But I think the first part would be, as everyone wants to be sustainable, cost is definitely part of every single conversation that we have. And
exactly.
to our benefit, so we sell both the dispensers and the paper refills. To our benefit, we have a solution that has, an ROI of within a year of implementing our solution in our systems, which is pretty rare. I mean, most
Yeah.
the ROI within the world of sustainability can be long. Think of solar panels, sometimes 10 years. And so to have a solution that can have an ROI within a year or less in some cases, especially if you're buying, for further regions that are further away, and you're paying a lot for your toilet paper rolls and your tissues. We've seen some cases where the payback is within 4 to 5 months,
Mm,
which is pretty incredible. So that's a big one. Sustainability, obviously, we're talking to some of the biggest brands like the Accors of the world that have really big mandates to reduce and eliminate their plastic, single-use plastic consumptions. And funny enough, the little plastic lip on all the tissue boxes is one of the last places that remains
mm.
to remove that single-use plastic. And so
I
we
also hate that plastic tab because every time I try to pull, especially if it's a brand new box, it's like I have to grab like 10 of them. Just like I break the box basically and like put my whole hand in there just to get the thing to start like pulling out and unfolding.
Yep, yep, yep.
Crazy.
No, I hear you loud and clear. And so anyway, so removing that is a really big element. And then you've got all of the other ancillary benefits. So you have, faster housekeeping. Think of like now I go into a room, I add to the dispensers that are in the room, I recycle the paper and I'm done. Nothing has to be removed back out of the room. We're reducing our waste reduction dramatically. So all of that scope 3 emissions that happens at a hotel gets reduced dramatically. Um, so faster housekeeping, reduction in waste, better storage is another really big one. Because these are rectangular prisms of paper for both toilet paper and facial tissues, you can pack 2 to 3 times more tissues in a carton than you traditionally would with toilet paper boxes. Toilet paper rolls or facial tissue boxes. And
What's
so,
the Sorry to interrupt you. What's the comparable like one foldable kind of refillable stack of toilet paper that you just showed compared to a roll? How many rolls go into either a stack or vice versa?
yeah, it's a great question. So our dispensers, I don't know if you can see that on the screen here.
Yeah,
So
there you
yeah,
there
there you go.
you
So really simply, inside this dispenser is a cartridge. It fits 2 stacks that I just showed you of our interfolded sheets of toilet paper, and it very simply just dispenses from the bottom, 1 sheet at a time. These are extra wide, large sheets of toilet paper, and so this fits anywhere from 1.5 to 2 rolls equivalent, depending on how much or what size toilet paper rolls you're using. Is it 400 squares?
Yeah.
Is it 500 squares, and so on?
Very, very fascinating, and that I wanna call you guys like the Apple of toilet paper. Like, you the way you just displayed that whole dispensing process and pulling it out, like, that was smooth. So,
Thanks, man.
congrats on I think well designed, well thought out, but simple, right? Like, it doesn't need to be like, you're just trying to wipe your butt or
Right?
blow your nose, right? Like
There's no shortage of
yeah,
puns in my world and everything that
yeah,
we do, which is really, really fun. No, it's the most rewarding experience ever. You want to meet someone new and get a giggle out of them. Tell them you sell toilet paper for a living,
mhm,
and yeah, they think you're joking, and it's not. It's the reality, and so it's been really exciting to tell people, how we're reinventing what has been for 130 years,
yeah,
and how there can be a new, more sustainable way to wipe your bum and
yep.
blow your nose.
Well, next date I go on, I'm gonna try it and see what the reaction is. And like, yeah, I sell toilet paper for a living. What's up?
Yeah,
Button
yeah.
bills, dinner's on me. Let's go. Just kidding. No, that's super cool. I guess where do you think you guys see the most understated piece of the business? Is it the sustainability aspect? Is it, is it potentially find like getting investors to believe in the product and mission? Where do you guys see this kind of maybe like having some hurdles for potential customers or even just growth of the company in general?
Yeah, it's a great question. On the business side, on the investor side, it's funny. We actually just finished our latest financing round, which is our second. Our first one we did just over a year ago, and it took us a good 2 to 3 months to get it going. We didn't have any product. We didn't even have a website, and so it took us some time to raise the money that we wanted to raise.
Mhm.
On this latest one, we had a website, we had products, we had customers, and it took us 2 weeks to be oversubscribed. So,
Wow.
the story and the paradigm changes very, very fast once you start having some traction and showing momentum and all of that. So that was, knock on wood, that was really, that was pretty incredible to be funded so quickly and have, the financing that we needed to do everything that we want to do. To answer your other question on like the hurdles, I would say one of the biggest hurdles that we had was just product adoption. So
Yeah.
on the facial tissue box, you would never know the difference. So if you saw this sitting in a hotel room, you wouldn't nothing about this would tell you that there's any form of like innovation here, right? You would just look at it like a regular tissue box. You wouldn't know that there's no cardboard box in that tissue box. That is just paper wrapped refills that just gets this, added to the dispenser. However, if you sat down next to the toilet and you saw, you know, one of these on the wall and you needed to, pull one sheet at a time, that would be different. Now, this is becoming a bigger and bigger thing across Europe right now,
Yeah.
but it's still new and innovative, right? So I think one thing you would do is put your phone on top because shockingly enough, everyone brings their phones and never has anywhere to put it. So that becomes a great
Exactly.
self to do it. So
You guys ever thinking about adding like one of those power banks
oh
on
man,
top of the
we
lid just
we
to
get
start
yeah,
charging?
we get that all the
Yeah.
time. But like for example, Ryan, who was the person that introduced us with the
Yeah.
Annex Hotel. So we've been there for 3 months now in the Annex, and what's great is he's like, listen, by the way, neutral on feedback, not positive, not negative, completely neutral, which is exactly what we want.
Mm,
So think of like when you walked into a hotel room and you saw the shampoo and conditioner and soap bottles on the wall as refillable dispensers. Your reaction was probably just like, "Oh, cool. Okay." Like, no more of the little tissue bottles that are in my room anymore. They're now
mhm,
mounted on the wall, ready to go. So, we expect a similar kind of reaction to this where people go, "Okay, they're dispensing one sheet at a time instead of, me grabbing, a ridiculous amount off the roll and
mhm.
it being wasted." So that's like one big piece that we're seeing, which has been really exciting. You had talked about previously of like how hotels can help tell their story in the rooms. So within each of these dispensers, inside the lid, we sometimes create custom stickers to put here,
Mm.
which talks about how this, saves countless numbers of rolls of being thrown out every year, how it's 100% bamboo for the tissues and all of that. So, we're trying to find different ways to connect with the guests to tell them the story that's in there.
Yeah. Super cool. I just kind of got a memory from a while back. I want to say during COVID, it was like 2020, and I got introduced to this brand. We don't use them, I don't think anymore or anything like that, but got introduced to this brand called Who Gives a Crap.
Yep.
So, can you tell me kind of like the overall greater ecosystem of bamboo kind of paper products and the eco-friendly sustainability aspect? Where how big does this get within your guys' world, right? Like who are the brands you're watching out for? Who are the brands that like partner with you? Like kind of give me some bigger scale because like obviously the TAM is huge, right? Any bathroom in the world or even now kitchen if you guys go paper towel, it can be available for a Foxfold customer.
Right.
What's the rest of the ecosystem look like?
So 95% of the world's bamboo is produced out of Asia. And so that's a big reason why, even if we did want to do converting here, as in taking the big jumbo rolls and converting them into folded sheets, it would still the raw materials would still need to be sourced out of Asia. So who gives a crap? Actually, we deal with 3 different manufacturers, 2 in China, 1 in Thailand,
Mm,
and one of those that are in China is actually the same bamboo manufacturer that Who Gives a Crap uses as well.
sure.
And so one of the largest, if not the largest bamboo manufacturer in the world. And bamboo is technically not a tree. It's a weed. It's the fastest growing weed in the world.
Mhm,
And so you're not tearing down trees, but you're rather, using plants that are growing 15 to 20 times faster than a tree. And so, the easiest analogy is if you've ever had a neighbor or if your parents or you have ever had bamboo in your backyard, you can't get rid of that stuff. It's like mint.
mhm,
Like the thing just takes over your whole backyard. And so the same kind of concept here. And so that's one big piece. Last thing on the bamboo side is we do have what's called FSC certified bamboo,
yeah,
meaning that they didn't tear down a forest to go and plant bamboo stalks. We're using existing bamboo areas to be used towards our products, which is really, really important. So that's a few kind of big key points on the bamboo side. Biodegradable, septic safe. I mean, if I showed you this tissue versus, the regular tissue you use at home or you've seen in a hotel room, because they're dyed white, you would never know the difference.
gotcha,
You would need someone would need to tell you that this was bamboo for you to really know the difference or feel the difference.
gotcha. That's
Uh,
really fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and going to see these factories is really fascinating. I mean, seeing how toilet paper is manufactured and the amount of waste byproduct that's created in creating those rolls of toilet paper, because if they're not perfectly, centered and everything else, they just get tossed away. So yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And so for us, especially on Canada or the US side, protecting our boreal forests has been a really big
Mhm,
one. From we talked before, jumping on about protecting against wildfires. Well,
yeah,
now we're giving them the alternative to say, well, here's an interesting way to counter that by not flushing our forests down the toilet quite literally and using bamboo instead as an alternative source.
mm. What are your thoughts on, Europe is very heavy into eco sustainability, right? Like that's anything they can do to reduce carbon footprint or offset, anything like that,
Right.
they're doing it. And there's a ton of laws. I was talking to a friend in Paris and she says we're talking about cars and she was like, "Oh, I would love to have a truck, but unfortunately in Paris, no trucks." And I was like, "Get a cyber truck." And she's like, not even that." And so they're very strict on kind of what they allow, especially in anywhere in Europe. And I would love to know, like, is there plans to go into Europe? Because I feel like the adoption would be so much better or faster, at least compared to America. But yeah, curious on your thoughts on that.
We've already been approached by some big brands to look at Europe in different ways. We just don't want to blow ourselves up. It's really
Yeah.
just more of a function of where we are located. So I'm in Vancouver. My co-founder Greg, or my main co-founder, as we've gone through, is based out of Toronto. So we kind of cover coast to coast here. All of
Yeah.
our distribution is here. So but some of the big brands that we're talking to, like the Accors, the IHGs of the world, they're all based out of those
Yeah.
regions. And so I think we will either start dabbling into those with some of those big brands over the coming years, or we will sell the potential of doing that as a business in future years to someone else to do it. I don't know what that holds. Right now our singular focus is North America. North America alone has about 10 million hotel rooms alone.
Mhm.
So there's a big enough market for us to chew on here. Think of just the Las Vegas Strip. They go through about, I think it's 200 or 250,000 rolls a day. So like the numbers are crazy, and that's just one street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no shortage of toilets for us to attack on this side.
How hard is it for you to say no to opportunities to go into Europe and to say no to like create this product and create that product too? And if you like, I know when you get traction, that moment it really clicks. Every opportunity seems to throw itself at you and every idea seems to be a great idea and goes onto the roadmap. And I'm just speaking from experience because it's like I've had to slow my roll a little bit. No pun intended on the toilet paper roll joke, but literally slow my roll in the sense of not going too fast, not saying yes to events, and actually being no, saying no more often than not. based off of experience of saying yes too many times and kind of putting myself in or the company into an odd position. So how hard is that for you? Or do you feel pretty comfortable being totally okay with
Oh,
slowing down?
I am the definition of FOMO, of a yes man, we'll figure it out, like all of that. So having my co-founder, not that he's a no man, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but having someone to like roll into who's on a different time zone, who doesn't always answer his phone, which can work in my favor and everyone's favor, for me to process things and for us to think about it and not get just jump on the hype and the excitement too fast
Mhm.
is definitely a big one, right?
Yeah,
So I think that's a big one. But at the same time, like we want to say yes to a lot of things. We want to try them all within reason. So, for example, we've said yes to just about every single trade show there is within the world of hospitality. And our, whole mantra there was like, we will do every single show. Like we'll attend every single show.
yeah,
And then the ones where we see value, then we'll look at buying a booth and maybe sponsorships and all that kind of stuff.
for
But
sure.
we will never go into it with as sexy as and as appealing as it might be, we will never sponsor the first time of an event without actually going to it for the first time. So that's like,
Yeah.
little processes and systems that we've put in place. I'm obviously simplifying it, but like something like that, for example, that, have we ever attended it? No. Okay, well, let's attend it once, either both of us or one of us, before we
Mhm.
go all in and invest into that show. And there's, the same with, working with different suppliers. Our internal story is let's get three quotes or we just say yes.
Mhm.
Even though we want to move fast, we want to make sure that we're getting, the best quality, the best price, the best partners, the best customer service, the best everything. And so, we don't have too long to wait, but we also have to make sure that we, do our due diligence, that we honor our investors and everyone that we report to ultimately, that, we do them right and that we take the right
Mhm.
path so that we don't make any dramatic mistakes along the way.
Without giving away the farm, is there a way to or a path to retail? Going direct to consumer or e-commerce, anything like that?
Yeah, so we've had a lot of demand for direct to consumer. So what we did is we built like a small link on our homepage that says for your home, where you can
Mhm.
put in your email address to be, made aware the day that we go live. And so probably by the time this comes out, or maybe shortly after this comes out, we
Yeah,
will be on Amazon across both Canada and the US. So we
cool.
hired an Amazon consultant to help build out our entire store. We're in the process of shipping Amazon Canada and the US are in the first sets of products. And this will just be for the facial tissue box, which will make it really, really simple because the lift on that is easy. There is no install. Put it
Yeah.
on your counter and go. So we'll be launching both the matte black and the matte cream version of those dispensers probably within the next few weeks here.
Very fascinating. I love it. Thanks for answering all my questions if I'm poking and prodding in areas maybe that you're not ready to reveal, but I find it fascinating. I didn't think I would be able to talk to you for 40 minutes, not you specifically, but I didn't think I would be able to talk 40 minutes about, toilet paper and facial tissues, but ended up learning a lot, especially the Las Vegas strip stat. 250 rolls a day. I'll never forget that ever.
Well, listen,
I
we
don't know
went
how
to
to put
one hotel, we did a sustainability tour, and I could send you some pictures of it. And as part of that tour, they showed us the garbage room downstairs.
Mhm.
It was shocking. Like plastic garbage bags full of half used or full used rolls of toilet paper everywhere. Like just everywhere. Like a whole mountain about I'd say it must have been 2 stories high of just toilet paper. And it was just
Jeez.
absolutely shocking the amount of waste that goes through, and so that one property alone has about 7,000 rooms. So they go through about 1.5 million ish rolls of toilet paper a year. Like the numbers are just staggering at that scale and that size.
Yeah.
So that's why like cruise ships will be the next big opportunity for us once we get distribution locked down.
Yeah.
Because if you think it's bad for a hotel on land, think of a hotel that's a floating hotel with 3,000 rooms upstairs that needs to then get rid of everything on the ship for a whole new load, and that every ounce of weight counts. So that'll be the next big one for us as well to tap into.
Wow. What just quickly, because I'm thinking about it now, but what's the install look like for a 7,000 room one hotel, right? Like that's gotta be is that on them to do? Do you guys like are you gonna eventually offer that service like an install service or what does that look like from kind of the execution standpoint?
Yeah, so most hotels typically will just have staff on board
Yeah,
maintenance guys, and our install is really easy. I mean, you can check out our installation page. It's, you put a
yeah,
plate on the wall, you clip this into the plate and you're done. Within 3
nice.
minutes, you can have a full dispenser mounted on the wall that's fully reusable. And to our benefit, because it's a bigger box on the wall, it covers up that existing little hole that you might have had from the toilet paper being there previously, or 2 holes that might have been there previously.
Yeah.
So
You're reading my mind. I was just
yeah,
about to ask.
yeah. So that helps a lot from a patchwork standpoint. There isn't really any big differences there, which is really really great. And then we've made it just as simple and as dummy proof as possible. That with a drill and a pencil, you can pretty much put this
Yeah.
thing to the wall and be ready to go within just a few minutes. So, to answer your question on let's say for a 7,000 room hotel, they would either start doing floor by floor over time, or if they would just include that as part of a bigger renovation down the road. As you know, most hotels typically do a big refresh every 7 to 10 years. So we
Mhm.
would be included as part of that and specced out with their designers and engineers and all that at that point.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Well, you answered all my questions, so I guess we can let you skate by. But man, the listeners, the apple of toilet and tissue paper is here. It's an exciting. I think it's cool. I like the business. Wish I could have invested. If you guys ever have opportunities in the future, let me know.
For sure.
Um, but yeah, really cool stuff. Where can listeners go to either like learn more, connect with you, follow the story, kind of see what they can do with Foxfold and their properties, all the above.
Yeah, foxfold.com. Fox as in the animal, and fold as because we're folding paper. So foxfold.com is our main go-to page. You can request a free sample for your hotel or business there. And then obviously following us on LinkedIn is another big one. And that's pretty much where we're posting, new partner announcements and all of that. So feel free to follow us there as well. And I appreciate you taking the time and all of your questions. And so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, awesome. I loved it. Great, great stuff. Thanks, Ryan, again for introducing us. It's going to be probably many more episodes in the near future, but Slick Talkers, you heard it here first. So go ahead, grab the links in the show notes. Make sure you subscribe and like and follow all things Foxfold, the apple of toilet and tissue paper. As I'm gonna coin that. I swear to God, I'm gonna coin that for you guys. But anytime people hear Foxfold, just think of Apple products, super clean, super smooth, all the amazing stuff. And
Well,
if you're an Android
now
user,
if anyone has an intro to Apple, I mean, hey,
yeah.
that'd be amazing. Let's convert all the Apple stores to be, Foxfold, toilet paper dispensers and everything. That'd be awesome.
Exactly. And if you're an Android user, convert to Apple.
Yeah.
There you go. That's I love it. Well, thank you so much, Ludo. Thank you to all the listeners who are showing the love to Foxfold and the team. And of course, like always, we'll see you guys again next week. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to our show partners for making Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast, possible. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we would love to connect with you outside of the podcast. So you can follow us on all of our social media channels for daily hospitality content, or find us on slicktalkthepodcast.com. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'm your host, Will Slickers, and we will see you guys all again next week.